special good morning to those of you listening Classic Radio, whether it's 105.5 or 105.9. Lovely day to you. Those of you viewing GBN TV, whether it's Channel 7, Channel 11 or Channel 20, good morning and welcome to another edition of To The Point. I'm your host, the GT, and it's Tuesday. It's Opposition Tuesday here on To The Point this morning. It's Tuesday, the 23rd day already of January 2024. And my guest this morning is Dr. Clarice Modeste. Let me say good morning to her. Dr. Modeste, good morning, and how are you?
Good
I don't even know the last part, and I hope you don't mind. I saw a customer, Dr. Modeste. I therefore the
No, that's we'll work with that for now.
How are you this morning?
Pretty good. Trying to look for my songs here to make sure I'm off.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Good morning and good morning to Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. It is indeed a pleasure to be here. Yes.
Welcome to the point. I think it's first visit for 2024.
Yes,
so I could say Happy New Year and everything in between for you. Our focus this morning, our focus or direction this morning in terms of conversation. Let's kick it off with some information. Of course, independence, Grenada's 50th anniversary of independence. From opposition perspective, how do you find the things are progressing so far in terms of independence?
Okay, well, so I'll answer your question in a broader sense, if you don't mind.
Go right ahead.
It's 50 years.
Yes.
50 years is really a significant and a very important milestone for anything at all, any institution, any business, whatever. But for our country, it is a special time. And, I really want to commend and congratulate those who are alive, who played a role in any way to build our country, to bring us to the 50 years. But I also want us to remember those who have gone before and who played a major role. And so it is really a happy time. And in speaking about those who have gone before, the father of independence, Sir Eric Matthew Geary, he brought independence to this country. And maybe you might be too young to know about the fight in 1974.
I'm way too young to know.
But it was a struggle, blood, sweat, and tears. Some people were happy, some people were not happy. They had to go up to England with Mr. Blaze in attendance, and Mr. Blaze said he was going to say he's not against independence, but not under Uncle Gary. That's what I was told.
Okay.
And when he went up there, I don't know, maybe some conviction took place, but anyway, they came back with an agreement that independence was going to be granted. But it wasn't without a struggle, and Grenada is a struggle country, but we always, overcome situations, and that was one of them. So I want to take a minute or two to speak about the person that we used to call Uncle Gary, persons called Uncle Gary.
Go right, feel free,
and I called him Uncle Gary to the father of independence. For thinking about it, there were some islands that had independence. There were a lot that did not have independence. And so it was a time that decision was a very important one, a very strategic decision for us, to give us the opportunity to make our own decisions, to have our own leadership. And I think by and large we've managed it well. We've had our difficulties over time, but we've managed it pretty well. Grenada has come a long way, it has developed. And so I cannot say I listened to all of the programs, but I would have liked to hear his name mentioned a little bit more of our history, because it is said, and this morning I was trying to remember the quote, but if you don't know your history, if you don't pay attention to your history, then your future could be jeopardized because of your ignorance. Because history will tell us our successes, tell us our pitfalls, and give us some kind of guidance, how to chart our way forward and to either emulate certain things or do things differently. I would really like to hear some more about Eric Matthew Geary, see some more prominence, see his photos in this 50th anniversary, and not just make the father of independence a statement, a word, an expression, but make it something really and truly significant and respectful and commemorative of this man. Before I leave Uncle Gary, I want to talk about one or two of his achievements that, apart from independence, that were really remarkable. And again, there was always struggles with that. St. George's University. It was School of Medicine at that time. And an offshore school, and some people didn't think it would work, and that was one of Uncle's old ideas again, and it wouldn't work. And look at where we are today.
Yes.
It has moved from a School of Medicine to a broad-based university that where a number of areas, a number of subject areas are taught and so on. And very importantly, one, to all citizens, the number of persons who have had the opportunity to get scholarships, in just about every field you could think about. Yeah. And talking about Uncle Gary and St. George's School of Medicine or St. George's University, I want to also mention here Sir Charles Modica. Dr. Charles Modica, the role he played since then, and he continued to play in terms of giving us more scholarships beyond the agreements, whatever existing agreements we had, when we had more students than scholarships. I remember Dr. Mitchell going to him. I remember us engaging him, and he would say, okay, well, we'll take it up from next year's allocation. But when next year came, there was always more students for scholarships with good grade point average, GPAs. And so he always was very gracious in giving us that. So this was a great foresight by Uncle Gary, and it has paid off very, 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 very well for us. So I want to list these two things, and I want to list these two persons because I know that Dr. Modica played a significant role there. And other governments have continued, but since this is Opposition Day, I want to take a little time to speak about what has happened in opposition. And you can see I have a lot of pages. I can't list them, but I want to take the opportunity to list some of the achievements.
Yes.
Because
when you speak of achievements from an opposition point of view?
Not an opposition point of view, from a government point of view, but what the opposition, what NNP would have done in government.
Okay.
So not opposition. We're opposition now, and we're not able to do much. But and maybe you asked a question how I think it's going, and let me go there first. As opposition, we know we don't call the shots. We are aware of that. The government in office, the executive, they call the shots, and we respect that, and that is how it has been. But I think we need to look at the lines that are being drawn. Some not just broken lines, some really serious, strong lines, and sending some strong messages, not just to the opposition, but to the nation, because there is a theme that talked about one people, one nation, but that sort of thing. One suggests unity and people coming together. But when a certain set of people are left out, does that mean that we are not Grenadians? So, and I want to mention one or two things that would have happened. There was a release that was sent out that ministers of government and members of parliament were going to attach pins to school children. I think it was secondary schools. And, I saw the notice, like my other colleagues, very late, but we were not informed. And we were not invited. So, and it was said that the schools where the MPs are, the MP, the sitting MP, would be handing over. So it means that the five of us, I don't know what connotation that would give. But
are you saying that you were informed but not invited? Is that how you...
No. I saw a press release. Somebody sent it to me.
Yes.
And I happen to know because, well, let me just say, one of our members was asked by a media person, which school you're going to cover today? Yeah. And he said, school, I didn't know about that. And so because of that, the person would have sent the release. Yeah. And so that is how we got to know. So I cannot say I was invited or any one of my colleagues was invited.
All right. Just for a bit for clarification's sake, of course, we had information from the of course the rural administration that of course that's Senator Cox. Information was sent to him being part of the organizing committee, being part of it, from the opposition side. So he was sent that information. And it was stated that maybe he didn't post that information to other members of the opposition. How do you feel about that?
We didn't get it from him, but I don't think that's the proper protocol either. I don't think that is the proper protocol. I have received an invitation for the church service, and it came from whoever is the chairperson of the organizing, the committee, sent it officially.
Okay.
And so if you pass a message through Minister Cox, ex-minister.
Ex-minister Cox.
So Brother Cox, what do we do with that? So if it was passed through him, it was inappropriate. And secondly, we did not get that message. So I just want to leave it there because I don't want to focus too much on the negatives. But I think it is unfortunate and lamentable. And there are other things happening that we do not know about. But, I want to thank them. They invited me to the church service. We do need prayers, and they invited me to the parade. We have a local committee in the parish.
Yes.
And they have been making plans and so on. But I have not been engaged. There's a parliamentary office, has not been engaged. And I got a letter from the chairman giving me the different dates and the plans. So obviously, if you're free, then if you're available, you come, and if you're not, because if it's our parish and I'm a part of it, and as the parliamentary representative, I would think that it would be appropriate to just, say, well, do you have an input? Do you want to make an input? I don't have to go to the meetings or anything, but I thought it would have been appropriate because we're one people and one nation. But that didn't happen either. And then I was invited to, they would like to see my presence. I don't know what that means. And there was a follow-up call, which I wasn't able to take, but I have to find out. I have to respond to the letter. I have to do that. At least they paid me some level, I don't know if you can call it courtesy.
Well.
So, but whatever it is, and it was sent. But I don't think in this 50th anniversary, with, the level of hype that it is being given, that we should be sidelined to this extent. It is lamentable.
All right. Dr. Modeste, that's for we due for a break, but I want you to come back. I want you to continue on the same level that we're speaking now, in terms of it relates to the inclusion of the opposition, in the 50th anniversary activities. So maybe speak a bit more on that when we come back.
Okay.
No show. Hey, before we do for a break, let's take it. We'll be right back here on To The Point. Don't touch it down, folks. We have Dr. Clarice Modeste with us this morning. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
National Lotteries Authority is a proud sponsor of many cultural activities within the Tri-Island state of Grenada.
My name is Anderson Matterson, also known as Leftist, and I'm a calypsonian and string band music player from Carrico. I support the games of the National Lottery Authority because culture benefits tremendously. Annually, the NLA supports the Carrico and Pittimatney Carnival, the Carrico String Band Music Festival, and all regattas, among other activities. When I play the game of the NLA, I can see where my money goes, and it's an investment into our culture.
Yes, Grenada, when you play the games of the NLA, you enable us to invest in the skills and talents of our people in the areas of sports, culture, and nation building.
I want you to control your anger. There's a way to feel better. a star. Stop and take a deep breath. And relax yourself. Take another deep breath. And relax it. And relax it. Eliminate violence.
Grenada, come and enjoy 3 nights of celebration and consecration as the Lateran Revival Center celebrates Grenada's Jubilee anniversary. Let's come together to give God thanks for the past 50 years. Join us from January 31st to February 2nd at the Gateway Conference Center in Point Salines. Special guest, Bishop Griffin Daniel from Dominica, bringing a powerful message to pure Grenada. Don't miss this special celebration for Grenada's Jubilee Independence Anniversary. Come and experience spiritual growth, unity, and gratitude. Hosted by the Lateran Revival Center, where faith comes alive.
I love my Grenada, my homeland forever. Tell them for us, Lord. Tell them for Grenada.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. It's To The Point for today, Tuesday, the 23rd day of January. It's Opposition Tuesday here on To The Point. And representing the opposition this morning, we have Dr. Clarice Modeste Cohen with us this morning. And welcome back once again, Dr. Modeste. The question that I posed to you, or what I wanted to pose to you before the break when I mentioned, being our 50th of, should there have been more inclusion as it relates to opposition and government in terms of the overall planning of the 50th anniversary of independence? I understand the government is the ruling administration is in power. As you said before, they are the one that are calling the shots. But for a sense of being our 50th anniversary, the inclusion, how do you feel about the exclusion of the opposition in the 50th anniversary of independence?
Well, this is such a great milestone, eh? I think it should be a time for good retrospection, introspection, looking into things and reaching out and making your theme meaningful and building a little bridge here and there, mending relationships and including everybody as parliamentarians so that you would include, and by including the opposition, it would have been very strategic because you would be including a lot of the rank and file, a lot of the masses out there, not just our supporters, but other people who are patriotic and who look for fairness. And by not doing that, these people, not just the 5 of us in opposition, these people, Grenadians, have been marginalized, severely marginalized. So I think it's sad that the government of the day did not take up that opportunity to reach out to us, to allow us. What damage can we do politically by pinning something on a child? We could do so much serious damage. It just makes one wonder. And I think I have not heard a good explanation for that. I want to reiterate that we were not invited, officially or otherwise. And I think we have, in a way, muddied the waters for the 50th anniversaries. However, we, the 5 of us, we are big, we are open-minded, and we are willing to do whatever we can. I had said to myself and to my colleagues, whether they invite me or not to the church service, I would go. Whether they invite me to the parade, I would go. Whether they will a seat for me, if I have to sit in the rooms, I will go. Because this is our nation. And 50 years is not an easy thing. And a lot of good things have happened. A lot of lessons have come along the way. And a number of things to be proud of in this country. I am a proud Grenadian. And I will stand anywhere. I am just so happy to be a part of, well, not to be a part, to be alive with 50 years of independence. I would have been happier to be more of a part, but that's it. Recently, on the advice of the opposition, you would have heard the release that somebody's but sort of representing us, but somebody recommended on the advice of the former Prime Minister, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, Dr. Julie DeBock, to be a part of this Independence Committee. I think it's the awards committee and so on, and she's there. This is a positive inclusion, and I want to extend through this medium commendations to Dr. Dubois, and I heard she's been doing a good job, but then there needs to be more inclusion. This is 50 years, and the government of the day is not the government that brought us there. A lot of other people worked hard. As I said, Dr. Eric Matugeri, Dr. Maldika, I mentioned already, I just wanted to say that. Dr. Keith Mitchell, whether you like him or not, we have to admit that the man did a lot for this country, and I have a few things here that I must talk about. But and so to take ownership of 50 years as though it was yours. Sometimes it's one face you see, 50 years. How did we get here? What happened along the way? Who suffered? Who made great decisions for this nation? Who may have made mistakes? And we need to know our history, and we need to remind everyone in this country, especially the government, of the history of this country, and that we do have a right as Grenadians to play a role. If we are left out, well, I won't go and fight, but I think it's very pathetic.
Let me also ask you this. What more would you have liked to see in terms of the overall organizing of the 50th anniversary of independence? What more would you have liked to see from an opposition perspective? If for some reason the opposition was more included in the organizing part, what more would you have liked to see? You did mention speaking about of Dr. Eric Matugeri, and you speak of other things. What more would you have liked to see that would have highlighted much more highlights of our independence?
First of all, a chronology of things, a history. And maybe they have that in the plan, because it's a whole year. What happened, who played roles, that sort of thing, right? I think, well, as far as I know, the committee, the invitations for nominees for awards, I don't know that the opposition was ever asked if they had somebody to nominate. Not an opposition.
Input into it?
Not an opposition person, but a Grenadian who was well deserving. I have not heard that any request was made of us to submit any names or so. Because I think we should be singled out. Not just put it on the radio or put a notice out, but single out. Do you have anyone that you could? Because this is a time for peace, for coming together, for bringing, and I think I would have liked to see that. But I really would like to see some highlights over the 50 years, some kind of video, some radio programs, and I don't know, GBN may have some, showing what has been done over the years. Some of them I've mentioned already, some of them I'm going to mention again, because this is our history. And we have a lot of young people who do not know what happened. A lot of young people who may have heard certain things and they're not sure and they need to know. So it's not about just honoring people, but it's about being cognizant of the fact that we have Grenadians to inform about certain things, to remind about certain things that they may have forgotten, and maybe other persons who are interested in Grenada to know about Grenada. There's a lot of things we are proud of, and I hope to see short videos on achievement, maybe year by year, maybe decade by decade, because you have 5 decades, whatever it is. But the role players in this thing, I would have liked to see some highlighting of the role players as well as the role they played in certain things in this country. Life-changing things, eh?
Yes.
I'm not talking about a little piece of road here or this, life-changing things that have happened in the 50 years.
You also former Minister of Tourism. What about the tourism aspect of our celebration? What more would you like to see done about that?
It's hard to tell when you don't know all the details. But to be honest with you, I have seen, every day I am in Victoria.
Yes.
And we have the Nutmeg Museum. We have the Chocolate Factory. And I'm proud to say I played a role in both of them. The Nutmeg Museum, as Minister for Tourism. I asked tourism to contribute. When they conceived the idea, they did not have the finances at the time. Nutmeg was going through its own difficulty. Cocoa was going through its own difficulties. And they engaged tourism. They invited me, but I couldn't go that day. And I remember the CEO of tourism went there, and when she came back, she said, well, look, this is what they want to do, and so on. I said, let's do it. Let's do it. One, because it's important to have a museum for tourism, because nutmeg is one of our major spices in this country. But also let's do it because it's St. Mark. So they made their own arrangement financially with nutmeg, because whenever we travel, we always promote the spices. And nutmeg was one of them, and nutmeg products. So there was a way you could trade off. And for our constituency allocation, I asked Cabinet to allow me to allocate a certain amount to that. And that is how it happened. I am still waiting for them to officially open it and to officially acknowledge the role that tourism played and that I played in it, because it's not about me, but I think it's just right. So, okay. I see in those two places a lot of buses, almost every day, Saturday, Sunday buses. I looked at the schedule. It's been a while now since I looked at it, but it is a significant schedule, a number of calls, a number of persons on passengers, as well as, of course, there's always a significant number of crew. I see some special calls going to Carriacou. And I remember that every time we went to a meeting, to a marketing session overseas, we always marketed Carriacou as a very attractive, a very engaging destination that the smaller cruise ships would go to. And it has paid off. So it's not what we're seeing now, but what has happened over the 50 years, and I'm happy to have been a part of. So in terms of tourism growing, I think there is a significant amount of growth, and growth doesn't start from the air; it starts from the ground, from the base. And I'm happy that the new National Party administration made the efforts financially and otherwise to do things. But what I would have liked to see is more advertisements for tourists, more engagements, not just for the dates around the 7th, but for the whole year. Maybe even persons in the industry giving some incentive to tourists. So like the hotels, you come for 5 nights, you get an extra night. A little push like that for tourism. I have not heard it. I cannot say that they haven't done it, because I am not a target, of course. Yeah. Maybe it's reaching the target, and I need to surf the net more to see what's happening. But I would like to see more hype in reaching tourists and encouraging them to come for this year. I like what I'm seeing with the airlines. Most of them were there before. The American, the JetBlue, so on. The new flight from Detroit was not there. So I like that, and I commend the Ministry of Tourism and the government, by implication, for achieving that. And I would like to see more the center schedule of the flights to come to Grenada. But I don't know if this is marketed as a tourism strategy or if it is just for Grenadians in the diaspora. But it's important for them too. But I think we should do some more marketing and more in the region to bring our Caribbean brothers and sisters. I would like to see more. And if that is happening, I would like to see it. But I don't know that this is happening yet.
Okay, great. We due for a break, Dr. Modeste. Let's take that break. We're coming right back with more. Stay with us here on To The Point.
so unique. Three different islands, and three different parts, interested to explore. So I urge you, don't stay too long, come and see where we all belong. Come and see for yourselves, come behold what we sell, what a country entails. Not just beautiful beach, all the culture that's rich, you'll enjoy your friendship. Come and see for yourselves, come behold what we sell, what a country entails. Not just beautiful beach, all the culture that's rich, you'll enjoy your friendship. Come and see for yourselves, come behold what we sell, what a country entails. Not just beautiful beach, all the culture that's rich, you'll enjoy your friendship. Come and see for yourselves, come behold what we sell, what a country entails. Not just beautiful beach.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, to the point here on Classic Radio GBN TV. Let me say good morning to those of you via our social media platforms, whether it's the Facebook page, YouTube channels. Good morning and welcome. Dr. Modeste, welcome back once again. Let's talk a wee bit in terms of achievements. Let's speak of it in terms of Grenada in achievements over the last 50 years.
Okay.
Folks would say we have achieved a lot. Yeah. Would you have seen that? What are some of the achievements you would like to list?
I would say that. And so I have a long list. I am trying to pick out the most salient things that would have happened, and you will find that a lot of them happened under NNP, and it's not by chance. It is having the insight and the foresight and the initiative to take on certain things. So one of the things I put on as a big deal is the rural electrification.
Yes,
the rural electrification, and when it was under Dr. Keith Mitchell as Minister for Works, with responsibility for, of course, for the electric company. And, I am told that rural electrification went from 45% nationally to 97%. And that is a great feat, so that villages and small areas outside of the city could have electricity. And I don't need to say the importance of having electricity in the country. I think that was a great feat. Almost every week, every 2 weeks, another village got lighted up, and so that is very great. Also, water, taking water to the the highways and the byways, especially potable water, because most places have a river, some kind of stream, some kind of something, but potable water is a different matter. And so almost all areas do have potable water most times. In terms of infrastructure,
yes,
we cannot leave out the National Stadium. We have a cricket stadium, we have an athletic stadium. You call him Brother Kirani James, little Kirani James, and the cricket stadium named after, I think it's Roy Lewis and
Junior Murray. There's also
Junior Murray, right? So not much to say on that. The evidence is there to see. The upgrade of the General Hospital. Some people might say that the location wasn't good and it should have been done elsewhere or not, but the infrastructure is much improved. The facilities, if you go now, the accident and emergency is in a different place. nice sitting facilities. Now you have cutting edge equipment, CT scan, X-rays, whatever, not ultrasound services being given there. Of course, we may never be able to provide all the services that health needs, but I think we've come a long way in that. And I want to tie in with that the strengthening of our renewal of our relationships with Cuba, because it was through Dr. Mitchell that was reestablished. Okay. And look what we've benefited. People like me, but maybe people might say, well, big deal. But the number of engineers, the amount of doctors, and other skills that persons learned, other degrees that persons attained in Cuba is unmeasurable. You cannot quantify it, not just by the number of heads of persons, but in terms of the value that this has brought to Grenada. In any government in Grenada, over the years, in opposition, in the present government, you see a number of persons who were educated there. So I think that was a bold move to reestablish relations with Cuba and the benefits. There were so many, out of that came the Cuban support and the Venezuelan support for the upgrade of the hospital, the health services that Cuba provides for Grenadians, a certain quota every year for diseases or illnesses that we cannot treat here in Grenada. The eye care program went on for years, so there's quite a lot. The Gulf Polyclinic, an excellent facility. It needs to be used though, but I wouldn't make that the topic of my presentation. But that is a good thing has happened. But marking 50 years also means that you have to look back. You have to think now, what these people have done, how do I move on to use it better? So there's a polyclinic, something needs to be done. The Victoria Health Center, brand new. Looking at other infrastructure, the Six Senses and Intercontinental in St. David's. We have the Liver project going on. We got Sandals, Silver Sands, a number of hotel projects that feed into tourism. And sometimes people say, well, tourism getting all this money, but tourism is a very important economic pillar. It brings in a lot of money to this country, and therefore we need to service tourism just the same. But a lot of tourism facilities, the marinas, the one Port Louis, just down there, then you have the marina in Karakou, you have other marinas, different places, and yachting, it has increased, the yachting industry significantly. Education, schools, I spoke about scholarships with Cuba, but scholarships from other countries as well. A number of them. Scholarships galore. The building of fresh new schools or the upgrading of schools, building of preschools, the books and uniform. And I talk about education. They may seem simple, but if you don't educate your nation, you are in trouble. Talked about that foreign affairs, the re-establishment of that relationship. Talked a bit about tourism already. So before I leave health, I just want to say that the now people in Grenada can get chemotherapy treatment here. You have oncologists on island and so, but that started some years ago with a gentleman, and I want to name his name, and a lady, Dr. Nematali. He was Guyanese, and he came and he started that program in terms of the whole cancer diagnosis and treatment. And he started that with one lady, Ann Hopkins, God rest her soul. She was the first one and the only one who dared to administer chemotherapy at the time, because it's a little bit of a frightening thing. If you're giving them and it's affecting them, what about you who giving? How does it affect you, and so on? And she was the one who said we could do it safely, and she gave some years. And I think this year is the anniversary of her death, 1 year. I think it's this month, sorry.
This month, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But I wanted to single out their names, because we cannot only talk about politicians. We have to talk about people who did groundbreaking things. And I want to say that this is one of those groundbreaking things. So a number of things would have happened. I'm just looking at electrification. We did that already. The scholarships, upgrades of fish market. I knew one time when we could not export fish to the European Union or to the United States because America then took the cue from the European Union. The European Union did all the testing, laid all the conditions, the policies in terms of handling of fish and what they call the HACCP standards. If you pass the European standards, then you pass the US standards. Okay. So at one time we couldn't do it because there were a number of things, the infrastructure and the water quality. And we did that. So now fishing has become a huge industry in this country, the export of fish. And that is because the NNP government took the bold step to ensure that there was a landing area and a fish market in almost every village, every parish. Every parish had. Some had, St. Mark has 3 landing areas. But that made a lot of difference to it. Right. Monkuma Road, I see that. I just want to mention it because, to be honest with you, for me and a lot of commuters, it makes a lot of difference when you consider the Monk Morris Road and the little narrow bends and so on, and even the project of the disaster of down there in Grand Molyneux, and what government secured funds and all of that, and the project is happening. I don't know how far it has gone, but something is happening. But I want to say kudos for the Monkuma Road, kudos to NNP for I think under NNP it got finished, or there was just maybe little touching areas. But I think that made a lot of difference.
So you speak of those achievements as it relates to where we at now at our 50th anniversary of independence. Tell us the significance of it for you.
Okay, I spoke about infrastructure because infrastructure facilitates certain activities. So if I speak about medical stations in Guava and in Victoria and the hospital, then you create the facilities so that you can provide services to people, and that is important. Establishing or re-establishing relationship, it opens channels for bilateral support, bilateral negotiations, and I have spoken about that. I mentioned Uncle Gary and the work he would have done with St. George's University and bringing independence. And I don't think I need to explain the importance of that, because when you can control your own destiny, you can make certain decisions that you don't have to wait on other people to do. So there's the hard infrastructure, but there's the area like education, where so much would have been done in terms of, come back to the bilateral and the foreign affairs, the relationship with other countries, but come back to our own St. George's University. And, the facilities, again, the schools and so on, making sure that is there. So it is providing the avenues for growth, for opportunities for our people. And a lot of people would have done that, would have assisted. I just want to add here the role of women inside and out of government, what they do, whether they work in the public service or not. And I don't think we give women enough credit for the input that they make in the daily lives of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. But I know in a couple of months we'll be celebrating International Women's Day. But I want us to ponder more on what women have done for this country, without singling out too much. And some of the early politicians like Miss Ned and Nadia Benjamin, Mrs. Gary, a number of them who blazed the trail for us.
All right. In this segment, we're going to entertain a couple of calls from you viewers and listeners of I know there may be a question or two you may like to ask Dr. Modeste as reference to our 15th anniversary and some of the comments that she had made this morning. Feel free to do so. 435-2041. Let's take our first caller. Caller, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Mr. JT. Good morning, Miss Modeste.
Morning.
I would like Miss Modeste to tell the Grenadian people, I know she has said a lot, whether it's true or not true. I would like her to tell the Grenadian people why she took away the toilet and the bath from the people in Victoria. I knew it was there, and it is said she take it out, she mash it up, and she build her own place. Explain that to us. Have a good day.
Thank you, caller. I'm not sure the relevance.
I
of
wouldn't
it.
dignify that question. I really wouldn't dignify that, because it's not true. As a matter of fact, I built toilets recently, 2 nice, well-tiled, beautiful toilets, maintained, and everything for the people of St. Mark. That I can answer. I don't. What this lady is saying there, I will not dignify it to answer it.
Okay. Another caller. Caller, good morning. You're welcome.
Oh, yes, good morning, JT. How are you?
Not too bad. Go ahead.
Good morning to your guest. Now, what I would say to your guest is that I would like to see the opposition and the government and the supporters work a little closer. You know, they have to rein in the supporters to ensure that we have more peace on the ground. Take what happening in Russia, take what happening in Ukraine, and with these leaders, the way they fight and what is happening to the citizens. But permit me to say this, because I was asked to do certain things. I was asked as an outpatient of the eye clinic. I was asked by the management of the eye clinic of the General Hospital to convey to the clients and the to-be clients that on Thursday, the 25th of January, there will be no clinic. So please take note. And I want you to repeat this for me, please, because there's a lot of chaos there. Yeah?
All right, thank you, caller. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. 435-2041. And any response to what the caller said is accepted?
No, he has a good point, and I think we're missing a great opportunity to build bridges and to mend gaps wherever they are, so that we can work together. And I know the opposition is well disposed to that kind of policy that he shared there.
Okay. Another caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Morning, Clarice, Modeste. Well, everybody knows my voice, and I hit Michelle real hard. So I would just like to say that the 2 persons, I mean, a lot of people contributed to 50 years. But you have to sing loud, Gary, that you're not hearing much about. And Keith Mitchell, regardless of what people think about him and I say, etc., he has done a significant amount of things for this country. And as far as I am concerned, I wish the new government, but if you look at it, Clarice, all the projects, every single thing, these people come and they inherited. What they're doing is they're actually building on Keith Mitchell Foundation. They have not brought anything new or significant, and I don't have no problem with that, because government is continuous. But all the things that they're boasting about, how economic growth and what IMF say, and IMF projections and the tourism and all these things, and the lady that Keith Mitchell brought in, the whatever it is that we got big director up for the year, all these things, they're building on what Keith Mitchell left and what Keith Mitchell did. They continued. The WASH program that they talk about is toilet and bathroom that I think Delma Thomas started, and it continued, and some of them things just changed in the name. But every single thing, the CBI program that they talk about, the allegation of the selling of the passport, all the economic policies that Keith Mitchell implemented over the years, that is what they're building on. They have not come with anything new, no big ideas to talk about. And the only reason why they really got into office is because Keith Mitchell did not pay the pension that you're not talking about. That is what, because all the surveys is showing that because of the pension issue, it's nothing to do with the leader. The party won because of the pension issue and the toxic environment that was created during the NNP times. That is why the NDC got in. In other words, NNP handed NDC a victory on a golden platform. But coming back to what is happening now, all this nice thing that's going on and all this praise that they're taking, it is because of Keith Mitchell. And when I say so, it's not that I disrespect Deacon Mitchell or love Keith Mitchell. You know what I mean? I am trying to be honest. Every single thing they're living on is because of Keith Mitchell. They have not brought anything new to the table to talk about. And when I say so, I say it in no bad way because you know my voice. And you know I've been very hard on Keith Mitchell. And I've been very hard on all politicians, even Morris Bishop are hard on. And every time you criticize somebody, you say something that is constructive criticism, you hate this person and people want to attack you and say this kind of nonsense. But I say to you, Clarice,
I would say thank you, caller. Thank you so much for your contribution this morning. Thank you so much. And we just have a few more minutes left on today's program. Dr. Modeste, tell us about your constituency in terms of the independence celebration. Anything up there that you may want to mention that we may have not have touched before we...
One quick point on that, caller. What you said was so telling. And we have to remember that, and I said it in one way, but she has put it so well, so succinctly, in terms of, you standing on the shoulders of other people. And so if your growth is dependent on what they did before, then why not recognize them as having made national contributions? I think that is very sad. And even the CBI, we hear both so many passports sold, but NNP was castigated for the Citizenship by Investment program. But the same people who attacked it are the ones who are benefiting, because don't forget that when you look at the number of passports, you also have to look at how much the government, the country gets, and how much the individuals that actually do the business with the agent that actually sell it, how much they get. So look at the beneficiaries. They are beneficiaries. They're not promoting it for the country, but a few of them are beneficiaries. And the nation should know that, and it is the evidence is there. So lady, the two people who have done the most, I couldn't agree with you better, Uncle Gary and Uncle Keith Mitchell. So I'll go now. Briefly take a minute for St. Mark. Last year, there's a group of us, we sit down together and kind of brainstorm what can we do in the community. And I had the idea of using breadfruit more, because around Independence, that's the time when the most breadfruit is
abundance of it for some reason.
Yeah, and most oil long is made and everything like that. And so we came up with the idea of doing. First, I said the oil long first, but I said that is too limiting for breadfruit. There are so many things you can do, and so we engaged persons, and we came up with a breadfruit festival, which got very, very good reviews. A number of things were made that I never knew about breadfruit punch. I never thought I could have a drink from breadfruit. I didn't know before, honestly. And, it brought to us that this is something that we could continue to grow and develop, because there are, and afterwards you find out other islands are doing similar things, but not the way we do it. We did it last time. And so we plan another Breadfruit Fest. It is my desire to invite everyone to the Breadfruit Fest. We have done formal invitations for the members of government. I have done a formal invitation to the Minister for Agriculture, Minister for Culture and Tourism, because I believe this has tourism potential. And it's left now to follow up and see what role the ministries are named. Grenada Tourism Authority is also working with us on it. They see the potential there. So that is scheduled for the 9th of February, 2 days after Independence.
Okay.
I hope that gives persons enough time to recover from the revelry of after the parade and so on, because it is a day to enjoy. And I want to say to Grenadians, feel proud of your country. Enjoy the different activities. Enjoy the 7th of February, most importantly, but never forget what went on before to bring us to where we are. How many airlines coming into our country, how many cruise ships coming into our country, different institutions and entities abroad recognizing Grenada as one of the home places to visit in 2024. So we have come a long way. We have done very well, but never forget that there's a lot to do. And we cannot be insular about it to find a solution and, one or two persons think them alone could do it. We have to build Grenada. We owe it to Grenada, and we have to continue. So I want to invite everyone to that Breadfruit Fest. The 9th, we start at 11 o'clock. Somebody said it's too early, but it's not, because somebody might want a lunch. and there are a lot of participants. We have invited the schools and so on, so there'll be a wide variety of breadfruit products. I want to encourage you. So maybe you say your child will like breadfruit. When you come and you see the products and you taste it and your child tastes it, you'll be making those products. We'll be having recipes available. Some on sale, some on handouts. So please come.
All right. Anything in closing before we take a wrap?
Well,
Anything
in closing, I would just say it's a whole year and there's opportunities to improve on what we do. We must not be small-minded about this because Grenada is huge, Grenada is big, and Grenada is there. And we have to be guided by God. If God is not in the midst of that and above it and below and all around, then we are in trouble. So let us trust God. Let us do what we have to do. And wherever lines have to be drawn, but I don't think this is the time for it. And I hope that we can engage each other more and follow what the gentleman said. Let us come together instead of having these tribal wars.
All right.
Thank you.
Dr. Modeste, I want to thank you once again for, we of course, beginning on the program this morning. All the best for you for the rest of the day, and happy independence.
Thank you so much, and a happy day to Grenadians, and enjoy your independence.
All right. Hey, folks, that's where we take a wrap for today's edition of To The Point. Until then, have yourself a good one. Join me tomorrow once again for another edition. That's where we say goodbye.